Hey guys, what's good? Welcome to the Great Debate Season 2. We are back in the building. We are at the Front Room in Croydon, an amazing music and art space. Go online, check them out. They're doing fantastic work in the community and they may just be perfect for your event. So today I am joined by my trusty panel. They are from all over the world. So we have invited technology to be a part of this. Say hello guys, start with Alicia.
Hey everyone.
Wicked. Ryan, say what up.
How you doing, guys? Can you talk to me? How you doing, guys?
Minister Smooth.
Greetings and salutations. It is the Lord's Day. Shall we bless his name? Is he not worthy?
Smooth, do you want to put a little high pass filter on your car, mate? All right, cool.
God bless you.
All right, so we have a wonderful lineup of guests today. As you know, this season we're bringing in people to help us go deeper in and discuss the issues a little bit deeper. So first up, our first guest is a celebrated writer, producer and musician who has worked with a list of names too long to mention, both inside and outside of gospel, as well as being called upon to handle music for film and TV across multiple platforms. He is none other than Nicky Brown. Hey, clap.
Mr. Brown.
Nicky.
Say hello. You there?
You there?
Peace.
He's there.
How you doing? You alright?
Wicked. Okay, so our next guest is a passionate worship leader and artist with many years under her belt. She co-wrote one of the biggest songs to come out of the UK in recent years, In Rain, and it's none other than Donna Akodu.
Hey, hello everybody.
Cool. Our next guest has written some of the most popular songs coming out of the UK Black Church, period. He, along with Mark Beswick, was behind the mighty Power Praise, as well as many of LCGC's early hits. He's one of the dopest keyboard players around and one of my songwriting heroes. He's none other than Howard Francis.
Howard.
Nice.
We also have to my right, the wonderful radio personality. She is now on Affinity Radio and is also newly the CEO of the GMIA.
Chair, sorry, chair.
Right, I like CEOs.
They'll come for me. They'll like,
chair of the GMIA, it's Lady T.
Hi, hey guys.
Lastly, but not least, his career spans over 40 years. He is the founder of the London Community Gospel Choir. He has an MBE and is a household name in the UK. He's been dubbed the godfather of UK gospel. Welcome, Basil Mead.
Hello, folks. Hi, good to see you all.
Perfect. Okay, so today, guys, we are going to be talking about an interesting subject. And we're going to be asking ourselves the question, what even is a good song anyway? Now, the backdrop to that question comes from our original conversation, where we were discussing in season 1 the original question, which is, do we in the UK gospel, British gospel, do we have any timeless songs? If we do, why? If we don't, why not? And we spoke about it and it just opened a massive can of worms. So this season we wanted to ask the question, what even is a good song? What makes a good song? Lots of people are saying, oh, this person's got a good song, this person's got a great song. And I realized there seemed to be a trend, especially recently, that all of those songs were in one vein. And we seem to kind of not be talking about the songs that we were accustomed singing, kind of, I guess, I know when I was growing up, there were certain songs that, like, as a keyboard player, a musician, I couldn't go anywhere without playing certain songs. Like, I mean, if you did 4 services in a day, you didn't have to sweat because every one of those 4 services, certain songs would have been sung. And we seem to have made a departure into like different styles of music that are not really where a lot of us are coming from and stuff. So I wanted to explore, or we wanted to explore, why that is. Is there something behind it? Is it just a natural progression of things? All of that kind of stuff. So without further ado, Donna.
Yeah.
When you think of a good song, what elements come to mind?
For me, it's content. I'm a writer, so obviously I'm going to think about content. What message am I trying to convey? What am I trying to say?
Yeah.
Is it connecting with the person that's hearing it?
Yeah.
Singing it? Because it's my journey, but at the same time, you want to make a connection with the person that hears it.
Yeah.
For me, I know that, sitting in church sometimes you remember about 10% of what's been preached, but I can tell you the whole set list.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know what's being sung in church. So it's important as writers that we write songs of good truth, of what people can connect to, what helps someone through their highs, what helps someone through their lows. And that it resonates with the listener.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to be a song that ends up being popular.
Yeah.
Because the individual has made a connection to a song.
Completely.
So I think for me, content is like the foundation of everything else that gets built on top.
Totally. Rev.
I like a song, what I would consider to be a good song, to have a number of different ingredients in it. To me, it's like cooking a really tasty meal. Content, the musicality of the song, how you move how the chords move,
Yeah.
the melody. I also like to hear the writer showing or kind of giving taste of the culture they live in, they exist in. Songs like "Sing unto the Lord a new song, bless Him, praise Him, lift Him higher." The guys who wrote that are Caribbean, so they are sharing Caribbean with me. "Fill My Cup," again, very British. It reflects a new style and a newness, a freshness, a fresh approach. Those are songs that I am connecting, or I have connected with. And I find it's important. It speaks to me on so many different levels. And so it also testifies to the person's faith. And those are great songs to have. If you look at the secular artists, as we've all heard, Bobby McFerrin, "Be Happy," and then Bill Withers, "Lean on Me." And so many other wonderful songs, they all resonate. And then you also have great songs that are fun songs that people sing because they have such a fun thing, lyrical. The musicality about it is very, very jolly and happy. So it's all subjective, and I think it's important for us when in the Christian faith, when we're writing material, to not just think of one style. I think we have deviated quite a lot in Black gospel, in that we are wanting to write songs for other communities and not writing, developing, and promoting the culture in which we live. And that means we are celebrating another culture, not our own. That is indeed living in denial for me. And I think that needs to be addressed. So we can create good songs. Doesn't mean we can't create songs for other communities, but we need to focus and make sure we give energy, time, inspiration to our own culture.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so it sounds like what we're saying then is that it really is unique to individuals, and depending on who the person is, they will like what they like based on their own expression, based on how they feel music.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a conglomerate thing. It's not a mass thing. It's like you might like something, you might like something.
We won't all like the same thing.
No,
so
we
that's
won't.
important to
Cool.
recognize.
So I'm going somewhere with this.
Go on.
Yeah. Howard, I have a question.
Yes.
When you are approaching writing a gospel song, or just a song, actually, we'll start with just a song. Like, are you just starting with a blank canvas and just like, you know what? It's a Thursday morning and it's raining, whatever. I'm just gonna write what comes to mind. Or is there anything that dictates what you're gonna write or how you're gonna write it?
It's different elements really.
Okay.
As a songwriter, it could be something I hear on the news.
Wow.
Or it could be something that was said by someone I was talking to. And it's as simple as that. That's always the thing that kind of gets me ignited, is what people are saying or what's going on around me in the news and stuff like that. So that really dictates what I write and how I write. Melody-wise, I don't think about the melody too much, I must admit. I just allow it to. I just allow it to come to me.
Okay.
And to paint, start painting.
Yeah.
The melody starts to lead you different places, so there's the chords.
Yeah.
And so I don't think too hard about the melody. The top line, I try and keep simple, yes.
Yeah.
Depending on who you're writing for as well. As Basil and I think it's Donna, was it Donna said?
Yeah.
Content is really important, definitely. But before even that, what's the melody saying? Because what catches me when I hear a song is the melody first. I must admit.
Interesting.
I'm a melody guy. So if that's catching me, then I'm going to start listening. Then I start listening to the content.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then the content comes into play. And then if I don't like the content, then I shut it off. Because there's a lot of good songs that are saying terrible things.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the melody gets you.
Gets you. Interesting.
It's the melody that draws you.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. We're learning.
Content might not be anything at all. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to come to you, Lady T, and then I'm going to come to you, Ryan, yeah? In your position, because you're the person who essentially lets us hear, like, we have to ask your permission to hear everyone's music, because you're on the airwaves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So what are you, so we've heard it from the creative side about what the people, I guess, making the music look for. What are you looking for when you're deciding what everybody should hear?
For me, there are a number of things. I like something that's catchy.
Okay.
So it's got to be catchy. And I like, Howard said, the melody for me, like I pick up on that so quickly.
Yeah.
And for me, if in the first 10 seconds the melody is singing in my ears, it's likely to be like, okay, I'm going to continue listening. And then comes in the lyrics. What's the story? What are you trying to say? And then followed by the arrangement. How is it all arranged together? Because for me, arrangement is a thing for me. Like if it's put together,
I get it.
In terms of how the keys are, the drums, the bass, all that kind of stuff, that comes into play for me. And then and just how it flows through, like, because sometimes you can get a song that has just too much going on, and that for me can put me off, and I'm just like, what are you trying to do here? Like, what is it that you're trying to communicate, or what is it that you're trying to get us to listen to? So it can't have too much going on in there production wise, because if it does, then you lose me, then you lose the rest other people as well. So it's just got to be something simple, just a few things in there, and then you're fine, simple and straight. And then and the lyrical content as well after that for me is also important. But that doesn't usually come in right away. It comes in a little bit later. And like Rev said, Howard said, you can have a great song, like everything's right, but the lyrics is just like, what is this? And I just because of the lyrical content of it, I won't play it. Even if it's so good, I won't put it, because I'm like, this doesn't do anything for me at all. So there are a number of things for me. And one thing I have to say is, like, the bass on a song will... That's my thing. The bass, something in the bass has to really touch my strings. See, honestly, the bass.
Honestly, right? I don't know if this is... I find a lot of women like bass.
No, I do like bass. I'm not gonna lie.
Seriously,
honestly,
it's true. Like the bass, like
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a big thing. Like for me, like it can.
It's all about that bass.
They like the bass. All right, so Ryan, as somebody who is a DJ as well, but more like club DJ, that kind of thing. How do you find that people kind of consume music when they're listening to it, when they are how do people respond depending on which tracks you put on? What do you find that they respond to musically in the songs? Like, do you understand the question? Like musically, yeah.
I think I mean it's interesting. So I mean I DJ out here in Atlanta almost pretty much every weekend, and what I always find interesting is that, well, first of all, in Atlanta, you can't be DJ without playing trap music, and trap music these days is a lot less about a lot of the elements that we're discussing when it comes to the song, and it's literally just about the vibe.
Yeah.
They're not really interested in the structure of the song, having a bridge, just kind of chorus. That's of no interest in them at all. It's literally just how the song makes them feel and how they like kind of vibe with it. In saying that though, I do notice that styles of music that I can play, that whether or not they know the song, they instantly gets people moving. And that's typically like island music, so whenever I play any dance or Afro beats, I mean, I know it's something that they don't know because sometimes it's like, stuff out of the UK I'm playing or stuff that is, not as like, popular as Davido or whatever. But it tends to just instantly get people on their feet, whether or not like they're familiar with it.
Interesting.
But in saying that, I do think that gospel music is probably one of the few genres where the quality of the song still matters a whole lot.
Interesting.
In pop music and like I said, in trap music, it's shifted a lot these days to being more just about the vibe. But I think when it comes to gospel, people still want to hear harmonies, they still want to hear counterpart singing, they still want to hear the bridge, they still want to hear the vamp. And so I think we're in this community is in probably a unique position to still be able to create songs that are meaningful and that that matter. But the other side to that is that I think discussing what a good song is can't be we can't leave the element of the vehicle for the song out of the picture, because I think my wife is she works very closely with Terry Lewis, and one of the things he once said to her was that a hit song. A hit is not a hit until it hits, right? And so no one can really teach you how to create a hit song or how to create a good song, because it doesn't become a hit until
it's a hit. That's true.
Hits, right?
That's true.
And that element of it is talking about the vehicle for the song. And so, like I think it was Reverend Basil that was saying that it's subjective, to the individual, to the creator, and arguably speaking, in some cases, the vehicle for that good song or whatever sometimes is more important than the actual quality of the song itself.
Yeah. All right. So Nikki, I'm coming to you now. How much would you say you're influenced by current trends when you're writing a song? A gospel song. A gospel song. How much are you influenced by like what's hot now in terms stylistically, musically? Obviously, you do a lot of production and stuff. Do you let that dictate how you write a song?
Well, it was quite interesting to hear what Ryan had to say about songs being vehicles, because many of us, a few times, me and Howard and me and Reverend Howard or whatever, we've had to write for particular things, and it's kind of just important to be able to know why you're writing and what you're writing about and who you're writing for. But then not only that, be aware of that person's audience and be aware of where their records might be played. So, like I've just finished the record with an artist, I just got it mastered a few days ago. Their record is basically a traditional gospel record, but with highlights of now.
Okay.
But the truth of the matter is that how many highlights of now, I'm really like trading on pennies to the pound rather than going all the way. I think what is coming out of this discussion, or after hearing the other panelists speak, is that what I find is a major problem with us is study and understanding musical genres and going into them and working out the base core of that music that you're trying to create. So a lot of people like from our community, a lot of black folks are trying to create worship music, but they don't know anything about rock and folk and 70s pop, because that's where those people come from. That's their writing perspective. i.e., if you're trying to write stuff like Edwin Hawkins, you have to understand that whole Southern California movement. You have to understand what they were listening to at the time. What a lot of people don't know, but if you really check it out, look at, listen to some of the Hawkins stuff, and you hear Rodgers and Hammerstein. You actually hear Broadway musicals. You hear that because they said when they were growing up, that's what their mother kind of played to them. Okay, Paul Robeson and so forth. I.e., coming back to the present day, and the question you asked me is, you have to understand what it is you're writing about in order to be able to present, even in a modern way. So I was listening to Ariana Grande's Help Me Jesus.
Yeah, because that one. Listen, I'm no prude, but
like yesterday, and I was
Jesus
like,
is Lord.
boy, there's some vibes on there, it's great. But what she's doing is she's heavily dipping from the past, and heavily dipping from what's gone on before, and what people know in order to develop a new sound. What a lot of us are doing is copying the sound of the moment without actually having any understanding of the musical foundation.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, so you gave a great segue, Nikki, into essentially where I'm going with this. So what I've done in asking those questions, I tried to get a context for myself and for everybody else about how we consume music as people, like from people that make it, from people that listen to it, from people that are in charge of what we're hearing. And I'm hearing about a lot of uniqueness. I'm hearing about a lot of study. I'm hearing a lot about what we listen to as people dictating what we want to hear. Okay, so let's take it a step forward now and take it into our churches, and a lot of what we're hearing from the stage coming back at us, it seems to all be going down one route. Nikki just alluded to the fact that everybody all of a sudden is a soft rock and folk expert. Now, when I say expert,
they're not.
I know, that's what I mean. That was sarcastic. All right, sorry. I should have put a Nige accent. Everybody is an expert. All of a sudden, right? I was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, they don't listen to rock and folk and these genres of music during the week. I'm not even talking about study. For pleasure, what are you listening to? So then how does it make sense that on a Sunday morning, when you need to be taken to a place, you're listening to something that you don't identify with at all? And we're all doing it. Why is that? Somebody help me. Somebody jump in. I don't even know who to...
Let me say something real quickly.
Go on then.
And I know this is probably going to be a bit embarrassing, but you've got to remember that I started out as a drummer.
Yeah.
So I sat for the predominance of 5 or 6 years from in fact, before then, I met Howard when I was about 11.
Yeah.
Okay? Howard was writing songs. Howard wrote a song. The first song I ever heard that Howard wrote was a song called 1 in a Million. I've never forgotten that song. Ever.
Exposure.
It was one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. So you can imagine, I'm a drummer. All I ever heard from about the age of 11 to the age of, even further, because we've done People Get Ready together, right? I just heard Howard songs.
Yeah.
And me and Howard had these long, in-depth discussions about songs and what we listened to and what songs we thought were cool and the songs on the radio. I know that Howard loves things like some artists like Chicago and Earth and Fire, but he also loves pop stuff and early stuff because that was how we were able to articulate ourselves musically because we studied and listened to so much music and didn't copy it, but was just influenced by it, right? So when we now turn around and we write a song like Sing Unto the Lord, a new song, which is only one of the many songs that we all wrote together, you can see why that song is what it is, because it's all of our ideas colliding.
Meshed, yeah.
Not only because we know each other, but because we have this kind of vast knowledge of the music that surrounds us. By the way, my two favourite bands, you guys are not old enough to know. It's T-Rex and Mud. I used to love those bands.
How you mean not old enough to know?
I'm actually really happy that I have no idea who you're talking about.
I know who you're talking
It means
about.
I'm not old.
Don't watch that.
So, like, I remember hearing, like I was saying, you know, David Bowie.
Yeah.
I remember all of that music because that was the music of the day. That was the music that was being played on the radio.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to my American friends and they say to me, "What are your influences?" Up until the age of 12 or so, none of my influences, or not many of my influences, were very black.
Wow.
And I had not done as much research on those people as I did on the music that I was growing up around. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is that because of great people like Basil, Reverend Me, who was bringing us into James Cleveland and Marion Williams and all of that stuff wasn't stuff that was around at that time. Like it wasn't easily obtainable. My mum took me to see Andre Crouch when I was 7 years old. That blew my mind because the first thing I said to Rev was, when I met Rev actually brought me into a situation where we were able to go on tour with Andre Crouch. And I remember being a 7-year-old and seeing Bill playing drums, and he was white. I've never seen a white person play gospel drums or soul drums before. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
So our experiences kind of shape the type of music and the kind of songs that we write and the atmospheres that we are in, and you know what we know is, I think, is what we're best able to write well.
Okay, I hear you. Rev, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I mean, Nicky sounds like a professor. He's obviously been around and absorbed a great deal.
Yeah, what I'm asking is, all right, so let me phrase it like this. How do you feel when you go into a service and music that you don't necessarily feel like you're being asked to worship, because we don't need, you know what I mean? We should be able to get certain places by ourselves, don't get me wrong. But in terms of like, we know why we have praise and worship.
Yeah.
And the music is meant to aid us. Like, we can't get away from that. So when you have music that you don't feel, how does that make you feel when you're in a service?
No, it's challenging. I find it very, very challenging because I'm looking for a certain style of music when I go to worship.
Yeah.
And I need to feel, which is a significant part of what everybody's saying. The story is key, content.
Yeah.
But I need to feel what's going on musically.
Yeah.
And if I cannot connect to any of that, then I will struggle, because my mind is drifting away and wondering, well, why can't I enter into the spirit of worship through this music? Because that's what it's for.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm reinforcing what I said earlier, and what some of the other speakers have said. We need to create music that gives us physically, spiritually, emotionally. We need to connect emotionally with what we're doing, with music we make and music we use as a means to get in contact, in touch with God.
I like it. Okay, Smooth, you there?
Yes, sir. We're there.
Obviously, you're an MD at one of the kind of fastest growing churches, but that's also making a name for themselves musically. What goes in to the thought process, number one, on a Sunday, when you guys are preparing the music for like Sunday worship and stuff, but number two, when you're making your album, what is going into that thought process? And you guys are a worship band, so let's take the artist kind of side, well, you're artists as well, but take that side out of it. What are you wanting people to connect with? Are you dictated to by current trends? Like, are you thinking, Sugar, I've got to tell the drummer he's got to open his hi-hats. I can't play anything too complex. I've got to just play with one finger and go do. Like, is that where you're at, or do you think, right, I can go in?
Yeah, no. What I love about Cab is there's a freedom. I mean, it's not too free that that was mental, but there's a freedom in that you're allowed to express yourself. It's expected that you express yourself, and Tab has got quite a sound in terms of when you come to Tab, it's very much a laid back kind of church in that we want you to come and feel at home. And so there's, I mean, we do, yeah, we definitely have some CCM stuff, but as you know, we're in South East London. South East London is not really a place where you're kind of cute. So my church is very much, it's not aggressive, but when we have worship, it is quite in your face. It's quite, there's elements of trap, there's elements of gospel, there's elements of CCM, there's elements of rock, there's a lot of elements that go into making this kind of like very big sound. And so we don't shy away from delving into loads of different genres.
Okay.
And we enjoy that, and the church enjoys that. When it comes to time to making a set list for worship, it's very much driven by what the word is on the house at the time.
Yeah.
Our pastor is he's quite intentional about his sermons in terms of he might do a series. So if the series, for argument's sake, is God is, we have a series which is about God is. So we try to find songs that are saying who God is, and so we try to unpack them so people start to understand who God is through song first before the word even comes. So to help you start picturing, you know, who God is and what He means to you, etc., etc. So it makes it easy for you to digest the word. So we try to be in line with what the message of the house is.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Okay.
Now, with
carry on, real quick.
Yeah, with regards to when we're creating,
Yeah.
It's quite key. I think what Prophetess Donna said. It's quite key to have content and stuff that's relevant and not too cliche as well. I think sometimes, I don't get me wrong, I think a lot of the older songs, they're amazing, and I think for me, they resonate with me because I'm old school, but sometimes they can be quite literal. And so sometimes I think at Tab we try to be clever and also relevant so people can understand it in the here and now. Because you know, sometimes we say "Thus saith the Lord," and someone who's not from church is not going to understand it.
Yeah.
So if you can talk about like in a language that they understand now, then you know what I mean, they're connected with the song in a different way. So we're quite we try to think, you know, metaphorically in places, but also in a place where people can relate to the song. So the words are, you know, for argument's sake, I live to be a worshiper was one of our songs, also it's about worship. And, you know, I breathe to be a worshiper, and it helps you to kind of identify the song in your own way. So, you know what I mean, you start getting your mind thinking, so how do I live to be a worshiper? How do I make you ask questions? You know,
I understand.
And we're quite intentional about that. So that's our process.
All right.
At the moment.
Nice one. Nice one, Smooth. I got you. I understand. All right, so I have a question. I'm going to come back to Howard real quick, and then I'm going to come to you, Donna. Howard, you there?
Yeah.
All right, wicked. So,
I'm here.
Yeah, cool. So, I think back to Power Praise, right? And for me, the first album, especially, was fresh. It was British. Songs were amazing. They were being sung everywhere. I think it's still relevant now, all of the rest of it. I think, for me, it's one of the top 3 albums to come out of this country, period. And that's a bold statement, because there's a lot of good music. And I'm not saying it just to gas, it's genuine. Like
700%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, the question I have for you is, could you write that again today? Would you be allowed to? Could you do it? Or would you have to be like, this ain't gonna work? I can't write Make a Joyful Noise. I can't write At the Cross, Jesus. The amount of time I've spent at that song, you know what I mean? Could you think, would you think, nah, I've got to do it different? Or could you do that still now?
That's a great question. That's a fantastic question. I would have to say, I would definitely have to readjust how I go about writing the song, especially musically. Because when we were doing Power Praise, I was very aware of what was going on at the time as well.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Musically, what's going on around.
Okay.
Like Nikki said, there's a lot of things we listened to that wasn't necessarily gospel music per se. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was a lot of. I listened to T-Rex.
Yeah.
I loved all that stuff. Chicago.
Yeah.
Because I'm very sentimental. If you leave me now, you take. You know.
Yes, tunes.
So things like At the Cross.
Yeah.
It hits your heart.
Yeah.
Now I would have to say that I would have to make some adjustments. I do feel though, like Basil said, and I've seen this coming from years back. We start to lose our identity as, can I say black?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
It's who we are.
Yeah,
It's
that's
who
what
we
we
Can
are.
I say that?
Yeah.
It is who
You
we
know,
are.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
It is who we are.
I feel really sad that the generation coming up are getting a watered down version of who we are. Because we're just using open fifths, and there's no real essence to it. I'm a musician, I'm a writer. When I listen to a song, yes, I listen to the content, but also I want to be challenged in different ways as well.
Yeah, me.
There used to be a time when gospel music, especially here, had so many elements in it. Now we don't have those elements anymore. Do you know what I mean? So if I was to write Power Praise again, I would definitely be listening to what's going on now, but I'd be true to myself still.
Okay.
And I have to be true to myself because that's who you are. Do you know what I mean? I am not Graham Kendrick. Let's just, I'm not that. I'm not Matt Redman. I'm Howard Francis. And all that comes with it, the Caribbean, like Nikki and Basil said about all these different influences are in us. So I feel that we should never water down what we're doing. And if I was to make an album now, I would have certain elements, but I'm going to be true to myself even more now because I feel I have to defend, in a way, my culture, where I'm coming from, because it's just getting wiped out.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
I love it. No.
That's
That's exactly.
Yeah. That's what we need. That's absolutely perfect there, Howard. We should not be feeling that we need to apologize for who we are. It's almost as if you described as watered down. It is not rejecting any culture. It's not rejecting others, but it's celebrating who we are. And we are as a community, a culture that seems to feel, particularly Caribbean descendants, we seem to feel that we need to feel sensitive about celebrating ourselves through our music, through our food, through the core heart of our culture. And music is such a key part. I mean, the whole world celebrates Caribbean, African American music. My goodness, that's taking me. I mean, how much time do we have? I used to tell her there was a band called Four Corners here. I was saying to someone recently.
Good guys.
They were amazing guys.
Yep.
But whenever I listened to them, I said to them afterwards, guys, you're African. Why don't I hear any Afrobeat in your music? I need to hear you. I need to hear you celebrating who you are. I love your other stuff, but I would jump at hearing you delivering Afro because that is what connects you with me.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I just say one thing? Right?
Real quick, go for it.
I wanna diametrically oppose Howard on what he said. Right?
Jeez.
Because what Howard hasn't been fair about is that. No, this is good because I don't know if you remember when that Power Praise album came out.
Yeah.
That Power Praise album was not a copy of anything else. It was
Very
a
original.
sound.
Exactly.
Very original.
A new
Absolutely.
sound.
It was such a sound. It had such it didn't copy anything. It was just like it was like a laser, man. It just
Strong identity,
because it was
absolutely.
it didn't try to be anything but what it was. And that's, for me, that's one of the signs of greatness when it comes to writing, is that you create your bubble, or you create your sound, or you create what it is that you do, so that when people hear that first 4 or 5 bars, we know that it's you. When every time I hear Rain, and I hear that first guitar riff, and then I hear Rain, I'm like, who starts the song? on the third note of the scale. That in itself, if we start to really dissect that song, it shows us why it stands out in the marketplace, why it stands out on the radio, because it has a sound, has a sound of its own. And that's what Power Praise gave me. It gave me a sense of pride and power because it had a sound.
Yeah.
And it was not like anything else that we had heard up to that point.
I love that.
Not saying that there was not any other things that were good,
yeah,
because
but
there
it was
were.
unique. Yeah.
But this record sounded like itself.
Yeah.
You put it on and everybody would know exactly what it was. That's what you call genius writing.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, so Nikki keeps giving me all the good segues because it's exactly where I was going next. So
I'm going to go.
It's all good, Howard.
Sorry, man.
Love you, man. It's all good. Love you, man. Thanks for being
Why are you
on.
going? You can't go now.
He's got. It's all good. It's all good. We're not going to be able...
I'm privileged to be here, and thank you for inviting me, IOS, with all this great talent and British talent as well. Just love what they're doing at Tab. I just love everything that's happening.
Wicked,
so,
man.
till next time.
Definitely. Nice one,
God
Howard.
bless.
So where I was going, Donna,
Yeah.
you've written, along with Noel,
Yeah.
probably the modern day equivalent to what Nikki's talking about in Rain. And that is actually along the vein that we're talking about, that kind of rocky, kind of grungy thing. Now, obviously, I know Noel and I know yourself and I know that is your bag anyway, but it's like, what went into that? Because that song,
Yes.
I'm almost going to contradict myself in
Go
that,
on
like,
then.
when you hear Rain, as Nikki said, as soon as you hear that,
Yeah.
everyone's just straight.
Yeah.
You know where we're going.
Yep.
So it's
Completely.
like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
do.
What went into that?
Do you know? Can I just make a statement?
Yes.
Rain is not the only song I've written with Noel. If you look at his albums,
Yeah, no,
you will find my name. You'll find my name.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? If you look in the Spring Harvest book, you'll see my name. I'm just saying. It's
No,
not.
it's true.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Donna. We're just saying, I was just paraphrasing the fact that it's a hit. And that's another thing that we don't talk about in gospel.
Yeah, hits.
We don't like to talk about hits.
Yeah. 100.
And hits are important.
Definitely.
It is. I mean,
Go on.
to be honest, when we started writing that song, we weren't writing it for anything in particular. I think at the time we were writing, it was just going through a season, and it was a really rough season.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about where we were at. We were just talking about what was going on in our lives, what we needed from God, what we needed God to do, how we needed God to show up. And we opened the Bible, we started reading scripture. Noel started playing that ding, 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 ding thing.
Yeah.
And then the melody came out of there because it was taken from Malachi, when the former and the latter rain come together. That scripture there, and that's kind of like, now I'm not musical. I play a guitar, but not for anyone to hear. You understand?
Okay, I
right.
know that.
So I don't play it to say, oh look, let's find this riff line. I'm a melody person. I look for melodies in things, and obviously, as like I said before, the content. But then that kind of got birthed out of that moment. So it was almost, Rain is our testimony. So when you hear that song, that's about, we need, that is like Jesus, we need you to reign, because right now it looks barren, and we actually do need you to come. And I think over the years that song has grown and it's developed, but it was our testimony. We did not know when we wrote that song that it would do what it did. We were just talking about where we were at.
No, and that's it. It's just pure.
We were just talking about where we were at.
Yes, please. I was coming to you next anyway. Go for it.
So I think just as I'm listening to, especially when we're speaking on the subject of Rain, now of course that's probably, I mean, one of the, I don't know if we've had a hit as big as that since in the black church in the UK.
Yeah.
But part of the success of that song wasn't just the song itself; it was the fact that, you know, of course, now Noel Robertson is as he's been working his bar for 30 years.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like he's got skin in this game, and so he was able to go around to these different churches, perform this song. I think the first time I heard that song was actually at NTA. I think he was doing a concert there. And I think that's how initially people started hearing it. I think that even before it was recorded and released, I think he was actually already performing the song. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying about vehicles, right? Because even if we talk about Power Praise being, you know, one of the best albums to come out of the UK praise and worship wise, which, you know, undeniably is, and one of the other albums we talk about a lot is Playing Games. And all of these songs, all of these albums and these records had vehicles that allowed them to do what they did. Both Playing Games and Power Praise had integrity behind them, and Noah Robinson had the vehicle of being able to go around to these different churches and perform them. That was his way of getting the song out there. So I think we also have to like look at that element of it as well, because these great songs and these great records would have been just, you know, songs lying on their laptops if these vehicles weren't available for them to, you know, to get in front of the people and be heard the way that they were and become classics, as you know, in our culture.
I think can I just add to that, because we first sang that song when we did KWM. That was the very first, for those that are the Kingdom Worship Movement, that's the very first time we performed that song. And when we saw what it did in the room, we were like, whoa.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And everybody was filming it. Everybody was like, then they went back to their churches and they started singing it.
Yeah.
And then obviously, because, like, you know, I was traveling with Noah all the time. So everywhere we went, singing Rain again, singing Rain. So we sang, you know what I mean? You got to a point like, Rain's on the list,
Happy Day.
So, you know, that's our Oh Happy Day. So, you know, we kept on. Everywhere we went, we sang Rain. And people, and because it was easy, there weren't too many words in there. People could connect with it quite quickly, and it was speaking to where people were at. So I think social media, and I think Ryan's right, the vehicle, social media, because then people took films of it and it got shared. And we did sing it before we ever recorded it. So people were already singing it because it had traveled, because of the technology we now have to enable that to happen. And because we had a conference and we had like 2,000 people in a room, that's 2,000 people taking that back to wherever, singing that, and then it's a ripple effect. Oh, what's this song? And then the fact that Noah was singing in big conferences and Rain was on the list. So
so I need you to answer this really quickly for me.
Go on.
Young people seem to connect really well with a song like Rain and a lot of like that kind of sound. Do you think? Because I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that's no different than True Praises. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song. That's no different from Sing Unto the Lord, even now. But why did those songs not make it?
You know what? I think they were sung in their sphere, but I think you have to then you got to give props to Noel. He's travelled everywhere.
But it weren't getting out of us.
But do you know what I'm saying?
And I'm coming to you in a second.
This is only me talking about the performance side of the song. Completely. So we sang that in places like Spring Harvest. We sang that in places like KICC. We sang that in various arenas which were wider than the Caribbean, if you want to put for the arena. So therefore, more people got to hear it. And I think there's this access to platforms, if you want to call it that, that enables that side of it, as well as, you know, the radio playing side of it, that helps the traction of the song. So you kind of need to be at a big conference, or you need to be in one of those places to have that song being heard. That's how it breaks out.
Okay, I've got another question I'm going to throw to the house. It's whoever answers this has got to be short, right? Because I'm coming to Lady T next with something else. But we have, as black people, we have big conferences, we have big platforms, we have all of this stuff. The songs have not made it through. Everything you're saying, I can point to identifiers that are the equivalent. What is going on? Why have our songs not made it through the generations and through the...
We do not celebrate our own in the way that we should. Donna's point, it was taken to a wider community. Probably would have found very few black Caribbean people in those conferences. When folk hear wonderful, great music, which we create all the time, they go for it. They will buy it, they will use it. And one of the key things I said, it's a simple song that speaks to people's hearts. We lack the ability to celebrate ourselves. And I think that's one of the key things. Power Praise was mainly within the black churches. It did not get the crossover that it
Okay,
needed.
so can I interject just there?
I agree.
I just want to I want to ask a question again. Does our music have to cross over? Is that
Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
All right. So if it does, why? Somebody tell me why our music has to cross over. Because in my estimation, there's enough black people that can sing black music. I go to some of these conferences that are black-led. Lady T, you're going to answer this. I go to I go to all of these places where there are lots of people and lots of people who connect with that music. Why does all of our music have to cross over in order for it to be successful? I don't really understand that.
It doesn't have to cross over. It's just down to the artist what they want to achieve with the song. I mean, you can easily just leave it within the community or our own. But if you have a plan where, like, you know what, I want just people here to listen to it, but I also want to get other people listening to it as well. So it's really down to the artist and what their plan is.
Okay, so guys, we started off this conversation saying that people like what they like, they listen to what they listen to. Listen to everyone's mixed bag of what they listen to. People listening to Chicago, people listening to, Basil mentioned Bobby McFerrin. I know people listen to George Michael, all the rest of it. All of a sudden, in order for us to be successful, we need to adapt our music to everybody else. Doesn't make sense. From what we said, if you write a good song and we like it, everyone's going to listen to it, sing it. That's actually, when you look at pop music, that's actually, that in itself has stood the test of time. Nobody was frightened of, I was having this conversation with Stephanie today actually, and she was lashing me. It's true. How comes we all know all the sections to Bohemian Rhapsody, please? We're talking about, that's more complicated than any kind of gospel, any kind of Hawkins. We all know Earth, Wind and Fire didn't frighten anybody off.
No. Yeah. I think we could look at the secular, the black secular. People will know all of Bob Marley songs. Bob is celebrated hugely in worldwide, internationally.
Yeah.
His music sells to everybody. It does seem like within our community, it might be something, it is something that we need to seriously address here, where we as people of faith within the United Kingdom have not seriously bonded in the way that we should, recognizing the importance of that. So we're celebrating, using that word again.
No, that's the buzzword, I guess.
Celebrating ourselves in the way we should. You know, Jamaicans celebrate Bob. You go to Africa, almost every African country celebrates Bob.
So we must celebrate each other.
Caribbean, exactly, it's about celebrating the artist. That's what we need to do. Is we can be so caught up in wanting to celebrate heaven and the things we have not seen or touched or smelled. We're not celebrating ourselves. We need to celebrate us. Every other culture does.
Yeah, that's true.
We are lacking in that.
Can I say one thing?
Please.
One thing really quickly,
We've got 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes. Go for it, Nick.
Don't give him 5 minutes, though.
Really quickly, we have a bad practice over here. Donna was talking about how they were on the road and they were singing at Spring Harvest. They were singing at all of them places, But how many times did Noel get booked for any of the bigger black conferences?
Don't get me started.
There we go.
Oh, listen.
We have a tendency
There we go.
to hector at our own people. I can say with confidence, when I was in a place where I didn't have anywhere to lead worship, Tab invited me. They opened their arms to me and said, "Bro, come down here and be with us. Join our family." When does that really ever happen?
Wow.
It doesn't.
So I spent one whole year not feeling like I was outside, and I was just brought in.
Wow.
And that, for me, I'm telling you, bro, that was power right there. And they never ever left me, they never allowed me to leave empty either. So they made sure, they weren't asking me about my financial state, but they made sure I never left empty.
Yeah.
You have to understand, right? There are all of these platforms out there, right? And I'm telling you, a Rev will probably, and Donna probably will say the same thing. When I get invited to speak, preach, lead worship at some of these tiny little places where there's no real great platform, they treat me with more respect than some of those big platforms where people are saying, oh, my platform is so big, I can't just let anybody on my platform. They are ignoring everyone, especially people from the UK, and they will fly people over for hundreds of thousands of pounds, right? Put them up in the Ritz and all of these crazy places.
Oh, you know what
but
he's
yet
talking
we
about.
couldn't pay for the bus fare for someone to come from South London to North London to come and do their company.
Better preach, sir. Better preach. Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
Nikki, all right,
Yes.
I'm hearing you totally. All right,
Yo,
cool.
listen.
I know.
Do we have a bit more time?
I know.
'Cause I ain't
This is
say
what I'm saying.
Say something.
All right, so I'm actually going to come to you next. We've got 3 minutes, right? If you want to say something, say something. But I want to ask. I want to kind of wrap it up this way. Do we need to make adjustments? And what adjustments do you think we need to make, especially from your perspective? Because, as I said, I can make all the music I want, and we can sing it in church and stuff. But radio is so powerful. You're kind of dictating my success to a point.
Am I?
No pressure.
Yeah. Because if you play it, the masses are going to hear it.
Yeah, I think the key things are, again, what are you producing? Like the production element of it. Is it world class? I mean, you hear some music and I hear it and I'm like, what is this? So it's the production part of it that will always be a key thing in terms of if it gets to radio. And of course, again, the lyrical content of it, the production element of it, the melody, how it's packaged as well. Like even to this detail of like what the front cover of the single looks like. If a single or a project is not looking visually appealing, I'm so sorry to say this, but I probably won't play it because you're giving me something and you're trying to say this is what you represent. This doesn't represent quality. This doesn't represent excellence whatsoever. So if visually it's doing that, that means whatever's on this CD or well, not even CDs anymore, but anyway, MP3 links, it's going to be the same thing. So for me, it's about excellence, and we need to continue to step that up in the UK because I see that sometimes we're kind of lacking in that. So it has to be the excellence part of it, and when you're putting your music together, it's the heart. What is the heart saying? Like where are you going with this? Why are you doing this? Are you called to do this? For me, so those things are really, really important when we decide whether a song's gonna play, and also it has to fit the station's sound. So why are you sending me something CCM that shouldn't be playing? That you study what the station plays. Okay. If it's not what that station plays, look for another station that does that because likely it's not gonna get played unless they have some other avenue. But yeah, study the station as well. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ryan, I'm gonna give you the last word. What do we need to?
Nah, I need to challenge Nick still.
Go and chime in, Smooth.
I need to challenge Nick still because
I'll challenge Nick.
Exactly what Lady C just said there.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny. There's certain, I'm not trying to give you thousands of pounds to come and witness at my church. When you haven't got a CD out, or you've just barely got a couple singles. And you stand and you ain't put no work in. You know what I mean? And then and then people complain and say that I would pay Americans this, we pay Americans that. But they'll come and they've got the discography to back it up. And they've got hits upon hits. They've got songs upon songs, and they're doing things in their current and their marketing on point. And when certain people say, yeah, well, I'm trying to get around the back, and you're like, but you come in and your backing track is mono. And you're running the clip out of headphones. And like, I can't take that seriously. You know what I mean? So like,
I hear you.
I think everything has to make sense. That's the only thing I would say.
I love that
I
smooth.
love you, but I do love you, but
I hate
No, and I ain't going against that though. I think you're right. But all I'm trying to say is that there are some people who've done that.
And
they've
still.
done that, and they're really trying.
Yeah.
Not only really trying, but they've succeeded, but nobody's got them down. And you can say that because you guys are kind of like an equal opportunities kind of church. So lots of people come to your church. So let's not go there.
It's down to the church. It really is down to the.
So let's exclude.
But the thing is,
I'm just saying in general. There are some people, including Noel, who deserve to be on certain platforms and he's never been on them.
100%.
All right, cool.
I do agree with you. I do think there are an elite few, but for the most part, there's a lot of people that I can't really take serious. Like exactly what Lady C was saying, that the packaging and everything is not correct. It's like, well, why should I then? Because it's like, if a plumber said to you, yeah, I'm charging you free.
All right, let's go there. Let's go there.
No, guys, we don't have time. Well, no, guys. I've got to stop you.
LCGC is the most famous gospel name in Europe. Forget the UK.
Yeah.
In Europe.
Nikki, you got 30 seconds.
I can tell you, and even when I played in inspirational choir, they were one of the most famous names in gospel music. Okay, they hardly ever play at any churches.
Wow.
That's because they're community choir.
No.
If I'm wrong, Greg, please tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. I mean, but to me, I don't see LCGC as a choir that's trying to minister in church. I think they're trying to go out of school.
No.
And go.
Well,
I'm too good.
So smooth.
It's still about self-celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still about self-celebration. No, you do. You do. That's why I said you can't bring yourself into this argument. All I'm trying to say is like Ryan was saying, which is really, really important. The vehicle. How do we let everybody know that we are great as a community? We have to get in each other's cars. We've got to get in each other's vehicles.
Yeah. Collaboration.
Get the message out to different places.
Yeah. Collaboration.
That's why Ryan is doing what he's doing. Because he understands the power of what it means to take something and move it from one location to another. And to get different people talking on different levels. All I'm trying to say is at the end of the day, a lot of us have a lot to answer for when it comes to us sharing our love for each other and each other's music on our own stages.
Cool. Nikki, I've got to cut you there, and I love that.
Man.
Ryan, give me the last paragraph. How do we move forward? What can we do to change?
I think one of the things we definitely have to think about is how we're going to shift the taste buds of the audience. And I say that because I think at the moment we are giving them essentially what they want to hear. I think a lot of people are scared, and I think Bex was saying this in the previous episode, they're scared of being true to themselves, like Howard was saying, because there's maybe not enough money or not enough fame to be made there. And so I think it's going to take collectively all of us doing what Basil said we should do, and that's taking pride in our culture and not being afraid of losing an audience or not feeling current or relevant. And I think, I think without that kind of ideology, I think we're going to end up in the same space. So I think we really have to, kind of start shifting our mindsets and being a bit more firm in who we are and the culture that we want to communicate.
Amazing. Thank you, Ryan. And with that, we are going to close this down. I think that was amazing. I think we've all learned.
Yeah, that's great. I enjoy, we can go on for another hour.
Definitely.
We?
And you know what? We will come back to this because we have to, because it's way too layered. But I do want to say something just off the back of what Ryan said just before we go. One thing I've learned recently is great things happen when you bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah.
So, please, like, subscribe, jump in the comments, let us know what you think about everything that's been discussed. You want to go to the Top Entertainment YouTube, subscribe there, and just jump in and let us know what you think, what your opinion is, and stay in touch. check all the old episodes, all the future episodes, and rock with us. Thank you, guys on the panel. Guests, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. It's been great.
Guys on Zoom, thank you. Wicked, man. We are out of here.
I love you, baby.